the relationship between addition and subtraction fact families. They add and subtract within 20, and they work with addition and subtraction equations with missing numbers. They count to 20, they understand place value, and use that place value and properties to add and subtract. And in second grade, they do basically the same thing. We just build upon what we do in first grade, that they add and subtract within 1,000. And they use concrete models or drawings and strategies based on place value. So that's what we're going to do a lot of today, is learning how the strategies that they use with place value. And also, they begin in second grade to add and subtract 3-digit numbers. So, with regrouping. So addition strategies that we teach at school are counting all with a circle drawing, where the students can draw circles to represent the numbers in their equation. They can count with fingers, 5 plus 2, 5 fingers here, 2 fingers here. We have 7. Sometimes they do counting on, where they would draw 3 circles and then count up 5. Or clap 5, count up 6, 7. So those are all basic addition strategies that they could do within the number of 10. We can also teach them to do missing partners. If they're doing a problem solving, Joe saw 6 snakes in the grass. 4 of the snakes were green, the rest of the snakes were orange. How many snakes were orange? So the students would know that at the top, they would say 6. I know that I have 4 green. What number partners with 4 to equal 6? So that's another strategy that we teach them in this first and second grade. And then when we start adding with teen numbers, and we call these decade numbers, 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s, the students, we start to teach the students that a 10 and a 3 is really the number 13, so that means I have 1 stick and 3 ones. And then we teach them to make groups of 10. How many groups of 10? What's the number for 4 10s, so they can start counting out 4 10s is 40. There's 4 groups of 10. And then here, if they're counting, they're going to make 15, they know that if I have 10, I have 11. Well, this is a 10, this is a 10, this is a 10. Well, this 1, these 2, these 3, and these 4 will all make another 10. So we just kind of teach them those regrouping strategies to always make our 10 ones into a 10. This is basic addition, adding our ones, just 4 plus 2 is 6. Adding 10s, and a lot of times we teach them in the classroom to draw just straight lines to represent the sticks if they're adding 4 10s and 2 10s. Or if they're adding 40, they can draw 4 sticks and 2 ones, 2 circles to represent the ones, and so that would be 40 plus 2 is 42. Sometimes just having that picture helps them to see that relationship better. Down here, if they were trying to get to 87, they would know that 8 sticks would be 80, and then they would start drawing ones till they got to 87. So that's just another way of doing place value. A lot of times, I know that we do this a lot in third grade too, is we start to teach them to make a 10. Start to do that regrouping. If they have 9 and they have 5 ones, they know this is 9, and they draw their 5 ones, and then they circle, and they know that's 10, and these 4 left over make 9 plus 5 is 14. And they can do the same thing down here. They can have 8. They could draw 4 circles, circle the 8 in 2 of their circles, and they would know that that was 10, and then the 2 that we have over here makes 12. So 8 plus 4 would be the same thing as 10 plus 2, which would be 12. So they can underline, basically that says what I just did. Underline the greater number, count on with dots, circle the greater number and the extra ones needed to make a 10, and then they make a 10 and some extra ones, which can be identified as a teen number. Basically what I just said. If they add large numbers, they can do the same thing. 28, they know that 20, that 2 represents 2 10s, so we have 2 10s. Then we have, that 8 represents 8 ones, so we draw 8 ones, and then over here we have 5. So if they circle this 28 plus 2 of these, that's going to make 30, and these 3 left over make the answer to 28 plus 5, 33, or 30 plus 3. Just another way of teaching them how to make those groups of 10, which is something that they understand really easily. Or they can just do it the old-fashioned way. Or you can add your tens first. 40 and 20 would be 60. Then add our ones. 5 and 8 is 13. So 60 and 13 is 73. That's another way that we start to teach them how to decompose the numbers, and we do that in 3rd grade with our place value, and we start to do that when they multiply. So that's just another way. If they come home and say that we decompose numbers, that's what they're talking about. They're just talking about breaking the number down into its tens, its ones, or its hundreds, its tens, and its ones, and then adding a little more simpler numbers. For them, a lot of times it's easier to add 40 and 20 and 5 and 8 than to try to add the ones and write down your one and carry, which is how we were all taught, which is what this is. Basically, the way that we were all taught to add is you just basically memorize the steps. 5 plus 8 is 13. Carry your 1, and then just add it up. They can draw a picture, 4 tens and 2 tens. They know that's 4 tens, 2 tens. Then draw our ones. Circle 10, 1. So now we know we actually have 70 or 7 tens, and we have 3 left over. So that's another strategy for getting them to make those groups. In subtraction, a lot of times, and this is the easiest thing for them to do, is just to draw a picture. Because they begin in a similar way. They begin, especially the word problems, in the same way, but in the subtraction, the big number, what they're going to be subtracting from, is always going to be first in the problem. So if their children are subtracting 4 apples from 6 apples, then they would need to know that they would have 6 apples, and then they would take 4 away, which would leave them 2, and that would basically be the same thing as 6 minus 4 is 2. Circle drawing, same thing. The T up here stands for total, so they know that 5, the big number 5, is their total, and P stands for partner. So if I have a total of 5 and I have 3, what number partners with 3 to make 5? And it would be 2. So they could draw 5 and then draw a line and separate, and then cross out the 3, and then they see that they're left with 2. So just basically drawing pictures is one of the easiest ways that until they learn those facts, until they memorize them, that's one of the easiest ways for them to understand subtraction. Counting on, if they have 8, we know that's our big number, that's our total. If they clap and say that partner number 6 and then count up, so they're going to really basically be counting up from 6 to 8, which is the total. So they say 6, 7, 8. So they know that the answer to that would have been 2. And then this is regrouping, which is one of probably the hardest things they're going to do in 2nd grade, and they're going to have to do it next year. But it's basically the way we were taught. You just go next door to your 6, take that 6, make it a 5, make the 4 14. I mean, that we teach it that way. We tell them that they're regrouping 6. They're taking 1 of their 10s away, and they're adding it to the 1's place. So now they have 14. And then just basically get them to do it all the way across until they get to their subtraction answer. And that is basically what we have. If y'all have any questions. So that was our quick little math talk. I've included all of the strategies that I just went over is on that handout that has with the PowerPoint. So if that's something that y'all could work on at home with them. Also, there is another little math brochure that I made on math activities that you can do with your children at home and ways to get them involved. Just counting, games that you can play with them, and other different things that you can do with them at home to make math more concrete and more enjoyable.